Okay, we'll move on to a question from, it was asked by Keith Edwards. I'm not sure if Keith's with us this morning, but the question was, it's regarding working alongside other trades, specifically during short-term installations of kitchens and bathrooms. Can we work alongside other trades at the same time, trying to adhere to as much social distancing measures as possible, and with the added use of face coverings where distance can't be achieved? This is in relation to, say, a 2 to 3 day job where electricians need to be working in partnership with joiners for the safe isolation and removal of electrical equipment.
Okay, I think that's one for me. So the first thing to know is at the moment, Scotland is in phase 1 of the reopening of, somewhat normal life. And within phase 1 of Scotland's plan, construction are able to enact phases 0 and 1 of their construction specific plan. Now, phases 0 and 1 within the construction specific plan are the planning and preparation phases, which means that at the moment, it continues to be the case that only essential repair and maintenance work should be being carried out. Now, the question you said there was about installing kitchens and bathrooms, so I'm thinking that's not for one individual whose kitchen has evaporated or whatever. I think that you might be talking about new builds, potentially. Now, according to the Scottish Government's guidance, that work shouldn't be going ahead. Now, at the point where it can go ahead, it should go ahead only where appropriate physical distancing can be observed. So even if it does become the case that that work is permitted, it needs to be ensured that workers have appropriate safeguards applied in the workplace to protect their health and safety. And that can be, I think you mentioned there about things like face coverings and things. Now, when it comes to face coverings, in construction, we need to keep the focus on physical distancing, on good hygiene practice with washing hands, keeping work areas clean, wiping down tools, not sharing tools, that kind of thing. Face coverings, particularly clinical grade face coverings, I would advise should be reserved for people who are deliberately being face to face with people who are likely or could be infected with the virus. So that would mean people working in clinical settings such as doctors, nurses, care workers, etc. If people would like to wear a face covering, then in a close-in setting with someone else at work, then that's fine. But the advice is that we should be able to be working while observing physical distancing when that kind of work is allowed. So I suppose it's thinking about whether the work that is being proposed to carried out is essential repair and maintenance work, and that will inform a business decision about whether that work can take place within the confines of the guidance that we currently have from the Scottish Government. Any questions about that? What I might do actually is put a link to the yeah, this is a link to the restart model, which shows you the stages through which construction in particular will progress as the stages progress with Scotland's overall plan to reopen. So that you should be able to see what kind of order things will happen in. And at the moment, because we are in phase 1 of Scotland's plan and phase 0 and 1 of construction's plan, we're only at the planning and preparation stage, according to the guidance. Okay.
Okay, thanks, Nick. Any questions for Nick around that? No? Okay, thank you. The next question. Oh, sorry. On you go.
Sorry. I keep cutting out here a wee bit, but just in relationship to that, we're sort of being pressurised a wee bit by some kitchen companies to get back to work. I think a date's been given for the 22nd in some jobs, so that's really not on then at this stage then. It's just for normal domestic kitchen upgrades.
So if it's the case that by the 22nd a new phase is entered into, then at that point that work would be okay to do. What date are we on here? 12th. So if on the 22nd we're in a different phase of reopening, then that work may be permitted, and they'd be maybe now in the preparation stage of preparing their subcontractors to come back by letting them know dates, provisional dates, when they could be coming back to work. So in making that request and giving a future date, it may be that they are expecting and making those preparations on the expectation that we'll be in a different phase on the 22nd, which could be the case.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe if we get to that stage, when you return to site.
Sorry, Bob, I'm not hearing you again. You're a bit muffled.
Well, I don't know what's wrong there. I speak much less. You hear me now? There's nothing wrong with the computer as far as I can see. Can you hear me? No?
We can hear you, but you're cutting out. Yeah.
Oh, well, you've got to talk time for that then, I think. I'm afraid I can't talk about that. What I was going to highlight was the BSG facility that members have on our website under deals for members. If you've not made use of that, it might be worth having a look. There are a lot of useful risk assessments and method statements in relation to COVID-19 on that website. Now, I don't know, have you used BSG's website at all? Have you registered for it?
I've not yet. I spoke to the representative just before all this happened, but we're looking into it, Bob, yep.
Well, it's a free service to members on the website, the Building Safety Group. If you go into the website and log in as a member, and you can either go to My Select, or if you just click on the for contractors, down the side you'll see deals for members. And if you click on that, there's a registration link that you can click on, and you provide your membership number and obviously the name of your company, and they will then send you a password to access the site. You go into that site through the Select website, and there's loads of information in there. As I say, specifically risk assessments in relation to sites for COVID-19. So I would strongly advise having a look at that before you get to the stage of returning to site. I don't know what size of company you are. Obviously risk assessments aren't required unless you go over 5 employees. But even if you've got less than 5 employees, it's still worth looking at that information on the BSG website. So that may help when you get to the stage of going back.
That's fine, Bob. Thank you. Will do.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Bob. Anything else around this area before we move on? No, everybody happy? Good. Okay,